Yes, students, now we will start part 3, and the topic is secularism in India. There we take this question: what must a secular state guarantee? Here we try to understand that a secular state, it has to guarantee certain things. What are those things which a secular state has to guarantee? First, a secular state has to guarantee that the religious community, one religious community, it will not dominate another religious community. For example, the Hindu religious community will not dominate the Muslim religious community, or the Muslim religious community will not dominate the Hindu religious community. What is the meaning of domination? Domination means trying to have a control, trying to control the people of other religion. Second, to check operation of some members by other members of the same religious group. This also a secular state must guarantee, that within a religion there is no oppression, within religion there is no domination. One religious group, people of a particular religious group, some people of a particular religious group dominating other people in the same religious group. This also should be prevented. A secular state should guarantee prevention of this kind of domination. Then a secular state must guarantee that the state, that is the government, will neither enforce any religion. No person will be forced to accept a religion by the government, nor take the religious freedom of its citizens. The government should not take away the religious freedom of its citizens. What is the meaning of taking away religious freedom? The Constitution allows people freedom to live by, that is, to agree with, follow what the religious beliefs and practices as they interpret them. So this freedom of the people to follow their religious practices should not be taken away by the state. These are the things which a secular state must guarantee to its citizens. The next part is, how does Indian state promote the idea of secularism? What different ways are adopted, what different strategies are adopted by the Indian state to promote the idea of secularism? First, a secular state. First, the Indian state, in order to promote secularism, what it does, it uses the strategy of distancing itself from religious issues. We do not have a state religion. This is how it distances itself from religious issues. A secular state, it does not have a state religion. Secondly, no religious festival practice is allowed in government run institutions. So these are the ways how a secular state, it distances itself from religious issues. And why this idea of secularism is promoted? Because secularism, it must guarantee certain things. It must guarantee that there is no domination, intra-community as well as inter-community. Neither the state should enforce religion upon the people. So secularism, it adopts certain ways to prevent that kind of domination, and one of the ways, it uses the strategy of distancing itself from religious issues. Are you following? Second, it follows the policy of non-interference. A secular state, it does not interfere in religious matters. What does it mean? And when it will not interfere in religious matters, one example I will give you. There is one section 129 of Motor Vehicles Act 1988. According to that, every person who is riding on a motorcycle or driving a motorcycle, he has to wear a helmet. But there is an exemption made to this rule, that the people belonging to the Sikh religion, you know, Sikhism, you know which people belong to this religion? Yes, those people, the Sikh people, they are exempted from wearing a helmet. Means they do not have to wear a helmet. Which Sikh people? Those who in public places are wearing a pagdi, that is a turban. So if they are wearing a pagdi, there is no restriction on them or binding on them to wear a helmet. Why? Because wearing a pagdi is central to the Sikh religion, is of central importance to the Sikh religion. And according to the policy of non-interference, in order to respect the sentiments of all religions and not interfere with religious practices, because wearing a pagdi is important part of the religious practice. So government follows policy of non-interfering in such practices. The state makes certain exceptions for particular religious communities. So you can see here the Sikh for the particular religious community means, communities means here example the Sikh community. The state, it has made an exception. Are you understanding? So in this way the state is following the policy of non-interference. First we have seen the policy of keeping away from religion, distancing from religion, religious issues. Second policy is of non-interference. Now we look at the third policy. It follows the strategy of intervention. Means sometimes it looks into the matter related to religion. It intervenes in the matter related to religion. When it does this when one section of the society, it discriminates or excludes the people of other group of people of the same religious community. For example, the practice of untouchability in the Hindu society. So by following the strategy of intervention, the state prevents the ill treatment of certain section of people by members of the same religious community, like the practice of untouchability in the Hindu society. The constitution, how does the state intervene? The constitution forbids this practice in any form, as it violates the principle of equality, which is central to democracy. Are you following? So in such matters the state will intervene, the government will intervene in religious matters. At times the state also intervenes in personal laws of a particular community. Like certain communities, they have personal law. For example, there is All India Muslim Personal Law Board. So similarly there are Hindu personal laws or Parsi personal laws. So sometimes the state also intervenes in the personal laws of a particular community. Why? In order to reconcile the things that clash with tenets of democracy. Means if there are certain things in the community followed in the community and they are violating the principles of democracy, then the state will intervene. Why? In order to reconcile, in order to restore the relationship. One example I would give you here, a recent one, that in the year 2017, the Supreme Court of India, it declared that the practice of instant triple talaq is unconstitutional. The Parliament of India in 2019, it passed an act. It declared that instant triple talaq is, it put a ban on instant triple talaq, and it declared that it is unconstitutional. Why? Because it is against the fundamental right. The Supreme Court declared that it is against the fundamental right of women. So this is example how the court, the state, it can intervene in religious matters, in personal laws of a particular community. At times the state intervention takes place in another form. I have told you this is one form of intervention. Then there is another form of intervention. What is that? Support. It grants support, provides support to religious organizations for establishing educational institutions. So if any religious organization wants to establish an educational institution, the state, the government, it supports it. The government gives grants, the government is giving grant to such education institutions, and the grant is given on non-preferential basis. Means the government is not giving preference to any one particular religion. So students, these are the different ways how Indian state, it promotes the idea of secularism. Now we look at the next topic, that is Indian secularism and other democratic countries, a comparison. Certain objectives of secularism highlighted in the Indian constitution. These can be found in the constitution of many other democratic countries. Means whatever objectives of secularism are there in Indian constitution, same kind of objectives are also found in the constitution of other democratic countries. Now we will compare the Indian secularism with American secularism. This is similarity between the two. Indian secularism, there is no official religion. According to Indian secularism, Indian state, it does not adopt any religion as official religion. Same is the case about USA. Second, in India, no religion can seek special treatment from the state. In America also, no religion can seek special treatment. It adopts the policy of having an unbiased approach towards all religion. Third, in USA, legislature cannot pass a law that restricts the freedom of religion. In India, government, it intervenes in religious affairs. If the practices are unjust and violate the rights of weaker section of the society, government, it can intervene in India. So here is a difference between the two secularisms, Indian and American. What is that? In USA, both state and religion cannot interfere in each other's affairs, but in India, state can intervene in religious matters, but religion cannot intervene in matters of state. So with this, we have finished the last topic of the lesson. Once we will revise what topics we have studied in this chapter, secularism in India. First part, we have seen what is secularism. There we have seen different examples that how people are dominated, how people are ill-treated, tortured, or even killed. Religious intolerance is there. So, the religious bigotry, we have seen that the reason for religious bigotry is that the religious bigotry can happen only when a state it gets official recognition at the expense of other religions. So, what does secularism do? Secularism, it separates the two powers, the power of the state and the power of the religion. So, secularism, it refers to what? It refers to the separation of power of the state and separation of power of religion. So, in the next topic we have seen why this should happen, why the two powers should be separated. There we have seen the three reasons. First is for the smooth functioning of democracy. Second is to protect the fundamental rights, and third is to preserve India's unity. Why there should be separation of religion from state in India, and we have seen those three reasons. Next topic we have seen today is what must Indian secularism guarantee? Three things it should guarantee. Do you remember? First, that there should not be domination of the members of one religious community on the members of other religious community. Second, there should not be domination within the religious community, means some group of people dominating the other group of people in the same religious community. A secularism should guarantee that also, that it would prevent such kind of domination. And third, a secular state, it must also guarantee that the government, it will not enforce any religion on the people, nor it will take away the religious freedom of the people. And how does the state promote the idea of secularism? There we have seen that it adopts three ways. One is the strategy of distancing itself away from religion. Second is the strategy of intervention. And third is the second is the strategy of non-interference. And third is the strategy of intervention. Third is the strategy of intervention. So, in these three ways, the Indian state, it promotes the idea of secularism. And last is the fourth one, the comparison between the two secularisms we have seen mainly in USA and India. There we have seen that on certain counts they are similar, the secularism, like in India also there is no official religion, in USA also there is no official religion, no religion can seek special treatment in both the countries. But there is a difference. What is that? In USA, the state as well as the religion, they do not interfere in each other's matters. But in India, a state can intervene in religious matters. But religion, it cannot intervene in states' matters. So, with this, students, we have come to an end with the explanation of this chapter. Now, what you have to do is that you have to read the chapter once properly and see if there is any difficulty in any part, and if you have it, do not hesitate to call me or drop me a message and clear your difficulty, your doubt.